Okay, this is taking a while. It's a bit of a weird thing, I was trying to figure out how to set up my headphones correctly since I haven't used OBS for a long time on on my laptop, and I'm here just trying to figure out how to work this so I can try and make more videos in the future. I'm gonna be trying to edit more chess videos, related around over the board events, my journey toward claiming the national master title, and how far I'm progressing in chess overall. And today I decided to go a little bit in taking a blast from the past by looking at last year's event, which took place in November, called the Turkey Bowl. Now, the Turkey Bowl is a prestigious event known in the Florida chess community as an event which is used to celebrate Thanksgiving, the Turkey Bowl, like the season, the NFL just playing there, playing everything, and we have an event dedicated to that, and just to have some fun during the holidays, I guess. And usually in this event, the top competitors usually consist of a Grandmaster Julio Becerra, sometimes Nikola Mikov, sometimes another Grandmaster. Some IMs have played like Zlotnick, Motvinick. I forgot his name. I'm sorry, but there are so many strong players who play in this event, and I decided to play in it. There's multiple sections. It is organized by tournament director John Haskell, who is a famous legend again in the Florida community, and we wouldn't have had amazing events like this without him. Yeah, I just wanted to recap all my games from the event. I'm gonna recap all my 5 games, and I also made a blog like this on chills.com. You guys can follow that if you want, but if not, let's get right into the video. So it was my first game. This is my first round. I was playing against an opponent named Jason, and there's a guy I know from the club. He's a really nice guy, really cool guy. We hang out and we play a lot of games together. And it was kind of funny playing him the first round. I was a little bit brushed off. I think a little bit overconfident, as you'll see in the game. Eventually, the game was just becoming very dry, and it teaches a lesson to not underestimate your opponent, nor to just simply over push when the result is likely going to be a draw. And let's go into the game. So it's a classical event. The time control is an hour and 30 minutes with 30-second increment. I decided to go for 9. And let me just turn off the sound here. Sorry. Let me just turn off the sound. None. I play knight f3. He goes knight f6. I play b3. Now b3 is a move which you would normally see in like a blitz game over the board. I have played this move so many times, notably due to the power and impact that Hikaru Nakamura has had on online chess, and b3 is not necessarily something you want to do in a classical event. It is a terrible opening to use, but again, I wanted to be super, I guess, super cocky, so I played b3. Jason goes for d5, bishop b2, g6, c4, already striking at the center. He plays c6, going for a slab setup. I play g3, bishop g7, bishop g2. We both castle. After knight b7, queen c2, rook e8, I play this move, knight to e5. Now, before this idea, if we go into this position, you see, white has some ideas. I can go for maybe this idea with d3, e4, and e5, try to span in the center. Black will try to go for a quick e5. I can play like d3 here. Let's say rook e8. I want to play something like this, and we get some type of initiative. Very nice ideas. For white, white has some ideas of counterattacking on the queen side. And let's say if black becomes a little bit passive, now we got this really nice clamp on b4, and the knights will reroute. We get this knight maybe to a5. We got some ideas of going for f4, kind of like a Queen's Indian setup, and I wanted to get some flexibility in the position, some dynamics. In the game, what eventually transpired was I played Queen c2, trying to prepare this idea of d3, give the knight to b2, and play e4, if I'm allowed to. And oops, sorry guys, let me just go back to the game. We castle, Queen c2. I played this move knight e5. Now, since I'm noticing he wants to play e5 himself, I literally played knight e5 to not allow him to play e5. And this is a really bad mistake. He played knight takes, I play bishop takes, and then he goes for bishop f5 attacking the queen. Now, he's an 1800, so I can't blame him. I think bishop f5 was the move we were both looking at. But the engine likes this move of d4. Because now this bishop is a little bit hemmed in. The engine wants queen b2 and c5. No, no, it wants d3. Ah, because then if we ever try to, let's say, have this position, then a move like bishop f8 is really strong. And we get this type of position, which is super confused. I honestly don't understand it. And the position just favors black, mostly due to the amount of space and piece coordination. Yeah, we have so much activity. Well, white is kind of just clueless. Like, sure, we can play a3, you know, just kind of like blitz moves, but we don't really have a particular plan. We're just kind of playing to see what black will try to maneuver around. And that's what I try to do in the game. I was just trying to shuffle around, find my little way in. He played solidly, bishop f5, d3, queen d7, knight d2, no, rook e8, rook c1, which again the engine will hate. I was just playing natural moves. Now I just and here I made the worst mistake of the game. Here I played bishop takes f3, bishop takes f6, and the reason why I play it is because usually I like to play with the knights during endgame. This is a bad thing though. The engine prefers e takes f5, and then argues that maybe with f5, let's just say queen takes knight f3. Now f5 is super strong. This bishop is slicing over the board, and you have so much ideas of attacking, like breaking the rooks in, putting on this weakness, maybe even taking, doubling up, starting up a pawn storm here, and going for the attack. Like, there's so much flexibility for black that it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it should be around even. I play this, going for the imbalances, bishop takes f6, and I play c takes. He went for bishop takes, I went king takes, queen takes c5, check, knight f3, we get e5, and here I missed an opportunity. Here I should have played probably queen c4, which I didn't do. I played rook e1. Again, just trying to prepare so that if he plays e4, now to be able to take, and if queen takes e4, I get queen takes. And at the very least case, I was calculating this ending, where after here and bishop b6, I get rook e2, and it should be, actually, sorry, not rook e2, e3, and this should be around even, but since I have a knight and he has a really good bishop, I was thinking my knight would basically outmaneuver the bishop and I would have more chances to try and squeeze this for a win. But the engine just says 0, 0, 0. So, of course, Jason did not play e4. He went a6, just a prophylactic move. I played h4 myself, just trying to go for imbalances. And now queen e6, really nice move, targeting these weirdly weird light square weaknesses, as the move h4 is now making my king side a little bit weak. And now he's ready for e4. I play knight e2, trying to stop e4. Then he goes back with the bishop, preparing this idea of f5, going for a King's Indian style setup. I play knight e4. We got f5, knight g5, queen e7. And at this point, I was like smiling to myself. I don't know why. I was literally smiling to myself when I played the move queen c4. Oh, you know, I was smiling to myself because I thought after queen e7, I could play this move with queen c4, which is still a top move. But what I had missed was he could just go queen d5. And I did not consider the fact that I could play e4 in this position. But I still did not like it. And the reason I didn't like it is because it looks so passive after this move, bishop h6. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? The engine, of course, it's an engine. It will say that white's fine and completely fine. But it looks like all these weaknesses are really just hemming my activity. Like, I don't know what to do against rook e8. My pawn structure looks weak. This knight is a terrible pin. Like, it cannot move at all. Like, why would I want to go into this? So instead, I could maybe have done queen takes. And if c takes, just brought the knight back. d5, I mean, take. Knight e1, and it's a position. Like, I'm worse, but I would have some more chances with this. Queen takes, no, sorry. And then you have queen takes. We could just done rook takes, and again, probably maybe e4, rook e1, knight f3, rook e7, and just try to play a position, even though this is basically worse for me. But again, this is a little bit minuscule. I thought that after here that queen c4 was practically winning the game. I don't know, I was looking at queen c4 and thought, okay, king h8, I got knight f7, and I win the game. And if king f8, just knight takes, I'm winning the game. But what I had missed was simply that he could just block with the queen. I basically made a blunder. So knight g5, queen e7, and I go back knight f3. h6, preparing g5, queen c4 now, king h7, and now I play this monstrous move, which is incredibly terrible, e4. Why is it a blunder? f4, again, exposing these weak light square weaknesses. The queen is going to jump into the attack. I tried to play knight h2 to defend against any queen g4 infiltration. We got rook f8, queen c2, and now he's doubling up, preparing to explode the f5. I go rook d2, rook f8, rook f1, and now f3, again hemming my king into inches from death. f3, and now if I take, obviously I lose a knight. There's no way I'm going to survive this. So obviously the only move here is king h1. If I go king g1, then queen h3 just wins the game because you can't stop checkmate unless you give up the knight, and then you're just down material. You're losing the game. There's no coming back from this. So king h1 is forced. Still queen h3 was played, and I played rook g1. And now h5, again, trying to take advantage of the weak squares that are around my king. And I basically had to end up just maneuvering around, hoping for something. He made a bit of slow moves, and I was there just struggling to get a breakthrough point. At one point, it was just collapsing. Like, there's so many weaknesses, but he was letting me off the hook. If I had followed this move of queen c1 in the game I played queen d2, which loses due to the move he played, which is rook f4. And again, just really terrible decisions by me. Rook c1 and now just rook g8 was played. This was the killer move because now queen h3 is unstoppable. Mate is going to soon follow, and I had no idea how I'm going to stop. There's no way to stop it. I play rook g5, trying to get back to the material. After bishop takes, pawn takes, queen h3, rook g1. He just plays rook h4, and it is practically a game over. There is no way to stop checkmate, and so I had to resign. So that was my first game. Now, how did I feel about my first round in the Turkey Bowl? Absolutely terrible. Like, bro, I blundered and I played such a terrible game against one of my friends. And I guess that just shows the psychology aspect of chess. You can never take your opponent out of any type of focus. You always got be sure you're alert on the board, not just off the board, of course. And I just let that win go away from me. I let something which could have been a full point get away from me. Anyways, I was devastated, so I decided, okay, we gotta jump back. We have got to go back into a winning mode. We cannot allow any more prospects. And so I tried to play. Let me see if I can find my second game. Can I find my second game? I cannot find my second game, but I remember my second game really well. It was against a different 1800, I believe he was 1700. He had played the move d4. I remember, look from my perspective. He played the move d4, and it was in the morning. I played the move g6. He played knight f3. I played bishop g7. He played knight c3. I played c5. And then here he made the monstrous move of bishop f4, which is a complete blunder due to the move c takes d5. And why is this a blunder for white? Well, if you just take, e5 just wins a piece. It's completely game over. Now in the game, what he decided to do is knight to e4. Complete madness. And here I played the move, if I remember correctly, I just played knight c6. Actually, I played the move e5, getting overconfident. And e5 basically loses all my advantage, because in the game he could have played knight d6. He did not do that. Instead, he went bishop g5. I went f6. He went bishop h4. Now I went d5, slamming the pawns in his face. Because look at the amount of pressure this is. This is absolutely incredible. Knight d2 was played. And now I just play knight c6. Again, just developing natural development moves. He really just got flabbergasted. Actually, I don't even think I played knight c6. I played g5, bishop here. E5. Actually, not e5. F5. Oh. Yeah, I played knight c6 here. We got knight b3, f5, knight b1, and and he is just dead. Like there's no moves for him. Eventually, I don't remember how the game went, unfortunately, but I won in 12 moves. With a check. Like I eventually just sacked up the queen. He resigned because he was gonna be down pawns, two for pawns, and I just felt pretty happy. So I was game two. Pretty terrible game from my opponent, but then again I left him off the hook. Again, a little bit cocky. That's something which you shouldn't be doing. Um, and then we go on to round three, which is against a guy named Roy Rogers McFreely. For some of you American Dad fans out there, he was another 1800. I had the white pieces. It was in the morning once again. Um, Actually, this is late. This is a late game. This is my last game. This is the third round game. I played d4. We got d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, and then this move b6. Now this is like the Dean Lorenz setup, and I really love playing this bishop f4 lines. As bishop f4 is something which is really traditional. There's not much venom to it. It's a simple line. Four line equal. I played bishop g3. He played a6 triangle for development. I played e3, bishop g7, bishop d3, castles. I played c takes d5, e takes d5, and knight e5. And my idea here was to try and balance the game. I was going to play f4, bishop h4 ideas. So let's say if you play like normal moves here, f4, rook e8, bishop h4, and black. White is really comfortable here. c5, I'm going to go for g4, and this is... So human mind, obviously, this is probably not good, but it's kind of hard to figure out what you want to do here. Um, Obviously the engine is not afraid, but to a human, this looks like complete madness, and of course anyone would be scared of this. But obviously knight e5, and my opponent just decides to just take, and I play d takes e5. He goes knight e4, I just take, and I go for this move of e6. And I wasted so much time calculating e6 here. And I pretty much just find, some interesting endgames just to try and make dynamics. He played rook c8, defending, and now he was here wasting so much time on the move e7. And after, let's say, he made like a normal move like knight c6, I would go knight e5. And I was just wasting so much time here thinking, and I wasn't even sure if this was even winning. I was calculating whether or not to play e7 or e takes, or just castles. At the end, I decided just to take, which was the best move. He played king takes, then I just castle, exposing this pawn structure, which is a horrendous weakness in black's position, while my pawn structure is really good, and I got this monstrous bishop on this diagonal. With the rooks infiltrating, I could probably just double up and then put some pressure on the e4 pawn, which eventually happened in the game. So he decides to go c5. I just took the knight, because you know me, it's the it's the technique, the technological magic of Kanaya, as my friends would call me. Kanaya, I'm the Dr. Kanaya, because I always love being a scoundrel with the knights. Like, the knights are like the magic behind all my power. Whenever you see me with a knight on the board, you should just tremble in fear, because trust me, I'm going to find some weird garbage to make that knight traumatize you on the board. Like, I don't know how, that knight is going to magically kill you. And so it does to my opponent, Roy. You got rook takes b8, rook d7 check, king f8, and rook d1. I'm just doubling up, and I'm preparing to just infiltrate and just kind of grind it out with the magic of the knight against the bad bishop. We get bishop c6, now I go rook d6, king e7, knight 2, trying to transfer the knight over to f4 or g3. In our case, I really wanted to go f4, but my only little worry was if he played g5. So if I played knight f4 right away, let's say if he played like a normal move, let's say rook s7, knight f4, if he played g5, I was scared about this move, but luckily, even though he can play all these moves, this pawn is still a weakness. But if I have moved my knight back, let's say this position for example, black would still be kind of in the game, because he can play rook e7, and after takes, sure, like maybe a little bit better I can fight for advantage, but now black is seemingly going back into the game with some chances for even playing for the win, which I do not want to allow. So my only worry was g5. In the game, however, after I play knight 2, he decides to go for this move of rook b7. I play knight f4, and he goes king f7. And here I decide to play knight e6, just trying to put the pressure on this massive fork idea, which he has to worry about. He decides to play king g8, getting all any forks ideas. I play knight g5. And knight g5 was really nice. Rook d8 check basically won the game here, but it's a little bit convoluted. I want to go for knight g5, again illustrating the point that many background weaknesses. He moved the rook back. I went rook d6, just targeting the weak pawn. Bishop a8, which was a top move, which I still do not understand. I play rook e7, just preparing a double up once more. Rook c6, offering a trade. I play rook e7. Rook g6, I calculate all this, and now I go for knight e6. Calculating this, 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 and this. And the whole point here is I was ready to trade the rooks off or just keep traumatizing with the knight, because you know the knight is just a really tricky bastard, as the amazing Agenmar would say. And again, I've proved my point that this bishop was pretty much worth nothing. It was pretty much worth a Whopper Burger King, which is not a good sign. But anyways, we got h6. But again, another terrible move, allowing the knight to show its magic into the squares. And here he just made a terrible mistake, illustrating the power of the knight with bishop c6. And there's a blunder, because again, the knights take that L, or in this case the dub. And we got check, check, and I win the bishop. And the rest of the game was pretty smooth, as I just converted up a knight, because you know the knights are tricky bastards, of course. And we just trade everything off. I gave back the material, because I knew my pass pawn was fast, and he just resigned many moves later. He could have resigned earlier, but I didn't care. I was pretty happy. So, at this point, it's 2-1, you know. I had one bad loss, but so far I got 2 more points, and it's going to be round 4 and 5. So, on to round 4, I was playing another 1800. His name was Arif, and he was a really cool guy, really nice guy. I decided to play the move d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6. Again, bishop f4, going for that Ding Lorenz setup. I'm a massive fan of Ding Lorenz Queen's Gambit decline games. Really just love playing these lines. And after he played the move c6, bishop d6, trying to tear out the bishop, I played bishop g3, which is not a good move. But again, it's going with the London mindset that after you take, we just take back with the h-pawn. And now white has some massive pressure on here. And after that, I said move like bishop c3, c takes, b5, bishop b3, a5, and knight f3. It's an interesting position. There's lots of dynamics, and black should be relatively equal, but it's practically uncomfortable for the black side, because you always gotta worry about these massive attacks on the h-file. In the game, now this happened. I went bishop g3, queen e7, treating it again like a London. Usually black will try to go knight e7 and e5, so I decided to not allow that by playing bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, and just c5, which is terrible, but again, I'm inventing. f4, again, inventing. b6, c takes b6, a takes b6, knight f3, going for a stonewall setup with the 3 pawns in the center, which again is terrible for white, but I'm trying to win. So bishop 8, take, castle, and now we got rook c1, trying to put some threats like on some knight b5, maybe some knight e5, g4, g5. Like, that was my whole plan. I wasn't calculating anything, I was just making up garbage. Queen d3, knight e7, h3, c5, a3, c4, queen c2, b5, knight a2, now allowing b4, knight e4, knight b4, rook a1, g4. As you can see, we're off to the races. One guy is madly pushing all his whoppers on one side of the board, while the other guy is basically throwing McDonald's burgers on the floor and just trying to say, okay, I might be garbage, but just try and stop me. Just try and stop me, because I'm Batman. I'm Batman on the board. Just try to stop me. My knights are scoundrels on the board, and I'm going to stop you with all this magic. So what did he do? g4, knight b8, knight d2, trading off one of the amazing pieces the black has, knight a6, knight a2, queen e7, giving me some ideas for counterplay. I play rook b1, and the whole reason why I play rook b1 is, let's say if I play a move like king g2, I did not like the idea that he would probably have this move of c3, and after I take, he could maybe double up and mess me up here. I did not like this. I wanted to be a little bit careful about not allowing him to have any breaks, so instead I play rook b1. So now if he plays like c3, like now I'm kind of like fine, as you know, he has no more breaks. I feel like there's no counterplay, and I feel pretty happy being up a pawn. But queen takes, knight a6, knight a2, queen e7. I play rook b1. He goes for rook e7, trying to double up. I play b4, and that was the whole idea behind rook b1, to prepare b4. So now if he takes, This kind of helps me out, although the engine says that this is kind of just terrible as black has an open file and it should be practically winning. But that was my creative idea. He did not take back. I played knight c3. He doubled up on my weakness. I played queen b2, king g2, h5, g4, and it's -1. G takes, king h2, queen f5, rook g1. Again, going for counterplay. Queen e6, queen b2. I mean queen g2. Sorry, trying checkmate. And now queen h7, and this is the critical error as everything falls apart here after queen g5. The engine wants the idea of a4, and after you take, you play this amazing move of f5, which is incredibly insane to look at. But the whole idea is not b5, let's say rook b7, just knight takes d5, and you're just falling apart here. There's no defense for black. In the game, I play queen g2, queen h7, queen g5. The whole idea is a little trick that after he takes, I just take back, and if takes, now I got this really nice check, winning the knight. King f7 just takes, and I'm up a knight. I should be winning the game. So queen g5, he couldn't take. King f8, again, a move of just nervousness. I play rook g2, defending so that when he would take, I can just take. And again, he still cannot take due to this, but also there's no more checks, so I'm kind of safe from any nonsense that he might do. So, queen h7, king f8, rook g2, and now rook b7, just casually just waiting around, trying to see what it would do. But again, this exposes the weaknesses of the dark squares. And in this case, he tried to do knight e8, defending those dark squares, but now I just take a pawn. He tries to defend again, but now I just take another pawn. He tries to offer a queen trade, but I decline the queen trade, because there's so many weaknesses in the dark squares. He plays king f7, and now I just take, and boom. I got my last piece into the attack, and I'm ready to explode everything wide open. How do you defend checkmate? Queen h7 back, and now the deadly move of queen d5, king e8, and then rook g8 check. And then here he resigned after king e7. It would be check, take, and mates. Really beautiful game I played, and this teaches you the lesson that you can bluff in chess. Obviously, it's not going to be like the poker. You're not going to win the lottery or anything, but you are going to have a good chance if you just try to just believe in the moves you're making, believe in the position you're making, that you have some prospects and that you can possibly win in a dynamic position, even if you're on the losing side. That's just how chess is. It's unforgiving, and most of the time you're going to end up with a dynamic position where there's counterplay on both sides, and whoever is just able to make out the wildness of the position and find some huge dynamics could win the game. Again, it's fire against fire. So this is my last game. I was playing another 1900. I thought it was 1800, or maybe it was 1800. I kind of forgot. This was again in November. I pretty much forgot everything about this event. But yeah, we get the move e4. I'm playing from the black perspective, and I play my old trusty Carl Khan defense. We get knight c3, going for the two knights, d5, knight c3, bishop g4. This is the Alireza Firouzja line. Like, Alireza loves this line against the two knights. And I decided to just play it. h3, take, e6, just solidifying d3, knight f6, e5, knight d7, queen g3, and then d4. And here if I was winning the game after knight e4 and queen h5 check, which was what happened in the game. Actually, no, knight e4. He played knight e2, and I thought queen h5 was winning the game. But apparently, black should just play queen b6. So then, after he plays a move like f4, I just go c5, and I get my knight to c6, and I just castle. And there's just so many weaknesses for white in this position. This is what I should have done. But originally, I thought, okay, knight 2, I just go queen f5 check. And when I win the pawn, we go into his endgame, but I'm practically better. No? And no, I'm just worse. Because white has so many ideas of f4, f5, c4, c5, a4, a5. There are so many pawn breaks that white has. Meanwhile, I have to be really scared for my own safety here to not fall in any tactics. He goes for f4. I go knight 7, preventing f4. He goes rook e1. I go g6, again preventing f5. Not f4, I don't know why I keep saying f4, I meant f5. He plays c3, consolidating. I play h5, not allowing any g4 ideas. He could still play g4, but I thought This would give me some prospects, you know, rook h3, attack the bishop, bishop b2. Maybe I just castle. Ah, sorry, that's a mistake. Maybe I just castle, and after king g2, I play rook h8, and I have some ideas. The engine just gives this endgame, which definitely has white in a slight advantage, but I feel like, again, maybe black could have some prospects and finding some counterplay. But again, c3, h5, now allowing g4. Oops, sorry guys, again, oh my god, I keep spoiling everything. This is a terrible video. I am so sorry. We develop, we prevent the pawn breaks, and now he goes for the move knight a5, I queenside castle. We go knight c4, I go knight b6, knight e5, and rook h7. This is a game which basically just shows you how much you gotta just be patient and just keep waiting around up until your opponent plays just one inaccurate move. We go rook d1, h4, b3, knight f5, knight g4, bishop g7, bishop e1, knight d5, bishop d2, and then knight e7. Now b4, here comes the pawn attack, knight goes back to d5, bam bam, bam bam, bam bam, and the knight's going on d5. It's been on d5 for basically God knows how long. It's been there for decades. It's jumped basically 3 times to d5. 1, 2, and 3. It's the magical number. And here, finally, when he gets the pawn break of b5, I decide to move c5, which is the top move. And here he plays the move bishop takes c4. Oh my god, why do I keep saying bishop takes c4 or bishop takes f4? I'm sorry guys, bishop takes f5. I play g takes f5. He moves the knight into the center, but he gives me the good knight. Again, it's the magic of Kanaya. You gotta be a scoundrel with the knights. I play c4, just clamping down. Because, for example, let's say if I make a normal move, let's say this move. If he just plays c4 now he's just better. Because after I move, now just b6 is super strong, and my knight is inherently weak. I have no squares for my knight, nor any future, and this pawn has a weakness. So in the game, I did not allow c4. I played the move c4 myself to not allow him to get this nice structure against me. He plays bishop e1, targeting my weakness. I just go back. We trade rooks, and now b6. We trade pawns, and I go back. This knight is literally trading d5 as if it was like a magical world. Like d5 is the magical world where everything, it just happens. Like everything you see flashing before your eyes, it just happens. Like bam, it's gone. Rook f2, knight takes b6, rook b2, knight d5. I allow him to get back the pawn, but I win another pawn. Then I get a fork. I move my king up, and I don't trade my magical knight, as I know my knight is the key of my victory. Bishop f2, king d5, bishop d4, rook g7, f4. After a bit of shuffling, I play this nice move of f6, forcing him to take, so then I play e5, and after f7, I play rook f6, and I win the pawn. So, we trade, f6, we shuffle around, the bishop's getting suffocated, and then he decides to play this calastrous move, this catastrophic move of g4, which is a blunder due to f takes g6, oh my god, f takes g3 check. But, oh my god, I cannot speak English today. I am dying. I'm so tired. Ugh. He decides to play this catastrophic move of g4, and I decided to play the move f takes g3. But the end just says h takes g3 is winning. I don't know why. Do this move of knight 1 and you win the rook cleanly. But, I prepared f takes. This is the first game. Oh my god, the first thing to come in my mind as if after f takes king g2, I would play knight f4 and I would just win the rook. Pretty much a clean game. And the game, what happens after you play king f3, I just took the rook and he just resigned. So, actually no, I think he just resigned after I gave the check. Either way, I managed to secure a spot in the top 4, and we each split the money individually. One of my friends managed to win the event, if I can call him that. Like, he's one of he's like a close ally. I know him really well. Really determined person in chess. He's always very determined, knows a ton of theory, studies so many books, and just trying to break the goal of national master. And his name is Brandon. He's a really cool guy. I'm gonna link below his channel. He's made a current channel for showing his chess progression, in which it will kind of like be like a chess diary. Like his little channel is basically like a chess diary, just taking note of all the events he's playing and seeing how his rate just fluctuates up and down. And I hopefully just wish he can make it there, at least at 2100, 2200. Who never knows? Anyone can be an NM. And oh my god, this video is super long. I'm so sorry, guys. I know 35 minutes may seem like a long video, and I really apologize, but I'm just gonna try my best. And I'm just gonna call it here. I'm gonna put the link in the description if you guys want to just follow him. And as for me, like him, I'm also gonna be playing a similar tournament. I'm going to be playing a tournament um, in Delray Beach, which will be really cool. I'll be playing so many cool players there. And if you guys want, I can recap the event. I will just be trying to play an awesome tournament, and hopefully, if good things are to come, then maybe I'll play well, maybe I get a ton of rating, maybe I crash 2100. We'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, everything will be good till then. And yeah, take care, guys, and make sure to like and subscribe. Really appreciate all the support. But yeah, thank you guys. Take care.